spider monkey.
No, the diamonds are here.
You greasy bastard.
Where's my shoes?
Sign your pity on the running time.
Big and white and cruel and mean.
Kiss my Converse. Easy, white chocolate. I wouldn't want you to melt.
But you just have to give me twice as much blood.
I'm coming.
I don't want you to come.
You're gonna need a bigger
Spider monkey. Spider monkey. Hold on tight, spider monkey.
All right, and welcome to the Bowels of Movie Night. I'm Isaac, and with me, as always, is my fearless co-host, Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
You know, something we're learning about moving away from Netflix is the ins and outs of how, these other services like Amazon works. So the first night I was going to watch Once Bitten, because as you know, I watch my movies once and then watch them again to review them because I have brain damage.
You're a masochist, clearly.
And the first time I had to review the movie, to watch it, I had to rent it. It was $2.99, and I'm like, whatever. It's fucking $2.99. Who cares? I have 48 hours, so I'll be able to watch it and then watch it and review it the next night. So I do that. I watch it the once, and then I get distracted the next night, so I couldn't watch it. I couldn't review it. I got caught up in something else. And then, so the night after, by which point my rental has expired, I go to, start it up again. I'm like, I'll just fucking bite the bullet and I'll rent it again, and I'll just watch it. Now it's free.
It was free when I gave it to you.
There was a brief window of time where it was not free.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That's really weird.
Funny.
That is... God doesn't like you.
So, Jeff, we hear you're a listener, Jeff Bezos, and, we're happy to have you. Pay your employees better, and also, don't fuck me out of a rental cost of a movie that nobody wants to see anyway.
Jeez. That's so weird.
Yeah.
They really, move it back and forth?
I guess so.
Or were you not signed into your Prime account, right?
No, I was.
Okay.
I watch things on my Xbox One, which is the only thing I use it for, is to watch movies for this show now. But yeah, it never signs out, so, yep.
Good Lord.
Pretty dumb.
Well, I'll mail you a couple of hot dogs in compensation.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's great.
I feel bad now.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't care.
Oh, God.
You were not in the wrong. Clearly, Jeff is a listener to the show, and you're his favorite co-host. So he's like, let me just twist that knife from that fat fuck.
Yeah. I've been getting my Amazon packages faster and faster lately.
That sounds nice.
They have little lipstick kisses on them.
I just pictured Jeff Bezos putting on lipstick and then doing the lip pop thing, and it's a very visceral image.
Yeah, especially as he gets more muscular and balder. Somehow he gets balder every year. I don't know how.
I don't have a great image of him going forward, so I haven't noticed his hair
I think
loss.
he just shaves deeper and he's taking skin off.
I am getting an Amazon delivery today to my friend's place of Seinfeld Legos, which I'm very excited about, and I'm just expecting there to be just a big turd in them now.
Is it like Jerry's apartment?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
I'm very
I think
excited.
I've seen that kit.
I didn't know it existed. I got my girlfriend the Friends. There's 2 Friends kits. I've gotten those for her, and then she pointed out that she was at a shop with Seinfeld Legos. I'm like, well, those are $75, but I mean, I have to have them. So anyway, this is Lego talk with Lego and Get. I don't have a joke.
I'll be Leggett.
I've had 2 sips of coffee, and it's really bad to record this show without me awake.
Yeah, we're getting an early start. It's 5 a.m. and the Bowels of Movie Night is raring to go. Oh, so yeah, we are the Bowels of Movie Night. Do all the good podcast listener stuff. Rate, subscribe, tell your friends, hit your grandmother. Send us an email, bowelsofmovienight@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Any suggestions, any thoughts on the show. I'll take nudes. Larry doesn't want them, but I'll take them.
Yeah, I don't want the nudes, thank you. I will never fuck you. If you're a listener to the show, I will never fuck you.
We got the Facebook and the Twitter, so do that stuff. And,
I saw we had 11 views on our Facebook page this week, which is uncommon for us. So
we'll
not that we do anything with it other than,
Yeah, the auto posts.
We're really bad with social media, which is probably we should really get better about that.
I know. It's that's the upcoming project.
We both do love this show, and we do work on it in the background, and we do have things going, but we're also just incredibly depressed all the time.
Yes,
and it's really hard to work on things. Yeah, that too. It's really hard to have the motivation to work on things when you just hate yourself and want to die. So, but I'm great. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Anyway, what are you reviewing this week?
I am reviewing Once Bitten. I'll be making commentary about how you're doing throughout.
Once Bitten, the long-awaited prelude to the hit series Twilight, starring Stephanie Myers and Bela Lugosi. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I've drained Twilight from my brain, and I don't remember it anymore.
That was a great start by Larry right there. He had a little Twilight joke, pretending it was a prequel. Get a little chuckle in there. Ha, ha, ha. Good job, Larry. Off to a great start.
It is weird because I both love and hate this. I love that you're doing it, but I hate that it's about me.
Oh, Larry's impish grin.
Oh, for fuck's sake! All right, one of my I have like a little Discord with my best friend and his. I'm now friends with. It was a large family, and I'm friends with basically his whole family. I'm part of their family now, and one of them took like I was using this little like chibi anime girl with sunglasses doing finger guns as I was making jokes about hating myself, and somebody put my actual real human face on it, and then my best friend made it into his profile picture in the background of his phone.
Of course.
And yeah, no, I hate it. I hate everything about it. And thinking about my impish grin is reminding me of that, and it just reminded me that I need to go like shit in his mailbox or something. Pull a real Bezos on him.
Give an upper decker.
That just seems. I don't want to do it to somebody because the thought of me having to clean that makes me ill.
Could also sew a fish into the underside of their mattress.
I don't know how to sew, but that is diabolical.
You could probably do duct tape. It'd be if they flip it over, it'd be easier to see what happened.
Did you pull that from somewhere, or is it just a thing you've had rattling around in your brain?
It's like an upper decker. It's a thing I've just absorbed from society of like, if you really want to get back at someone, this is an awful way to do it.
I mean, yeah, no argument here. Fuck, that's terrible. All right, Jesus Christ. Once Bitten, not a prelude to Twilight, but it is about vampires. 1985 American teen horror sex comedy. Not horror at all. And I believe from the reviews I saw on like Janie's horrorblog.wordpress.com, that kind of shit. People are like, it's not a horror movie. No, it's not a horror movie. It was never meant to be a horror movie, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a comedy based on a horror concept, but it's not going out of the way to scare you.
No, not even remotely. It has the 10% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty terrible.
Ouch.
That's pretty low. And a 39% audience score. So not good there. IMDb has it at a 5.6, so middle of the road as usual. Nothing too crazy, which sounds about right. The biggest draw of this movie, and we'll talk about it more in the actual review, is of course, it's one of the very early roles of Jim Carrey. Very young, wild to think of it now, just because, the age we're living in now. I think the last time I saw him, he had like a big white bushy beard. And
yeah, he just turned 60. And this movie is 35 years old, so he was probably like 24, 23 when it was filmed.
I took a look at his filmography.
37 years old. Jesus Christ.
He what?
I keep forgetting we're in 2022. Yeah. My brain's still in 2020 mode.
Yeah, I know. This is like his 6th acting gig ever on Wikipedia. Anyway, like he had 3 TV shows that he was in very briefly, and then like 2 movies that he was like a very minor part in, and he was his 6th thing, and it was like his biggest breakout role. Like he was the lead. I don't think this did shitty at the box office because it's a bad movie, but it's very interesting to see him in like his first real leading role.
Because he wasn't really widely known until In Living Color, which was the early 90s, and then 94 is when he had his Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask.
Yeah, The Mask.
So that's when he hit the national stage.
Mm-hmm. So, and this is 85, so we're a long way away from him being any kind of like well known. He just one of those names. He's one of those people at that point, like, oh yeah, I've seen him and stuff. After a couple of years, he'd been around, but yeah. So this is very interesting for that, just because he's like, we never really had something like this, because he's so well known and talented, a very talented actor. And this is like his first big outing. So that was really wild. I've never like seen anything, even not for the show. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that I could really like sink my teeth into it. Shut up. Where it's, I could really realize like, oh, this is a breakout hit for them. So anyway, I thought that was very interesting, and we'll be talking about that throughout the review.
Larry's face turns crestfallen as he realizes he made an unintentional vampire pun.
I hate vampires. But, believe it or not, it's a thing we're going to talk about.
I'm curious what the lore the world lore is for this one.
Bad, believe it or not. So we open on what is typically a very good sight as we see Cleavon Little walking around a very 80s modern, air quotes, mansion, straightening pictures and doing some light cleaning. For those of you who don't know, Cleavon Little is, among other things, the star of the movie Blazing Saddles, one of the better comedies ever made. And I fucking love Blazing Saddles. It's frequently in contention for, like, my top 5 favorite comedies, and it's probably in, like, my top 20 movies of all time. I love that movie. And Cleavon
Mel
Little...
Brooks is a genius.
Cleavon Little is a fucking delight. It's him and Gene... I was getting my teens wrong. Which Gene is it? Wilder? Hackman? Nope, see, I did it wrong again.
It's
Willy Wonka.
It is
Willy
Wilder.
Wonka? God damn it.
Gene Wilder.
Why would you do this to me? You know that I have brain damage.
The point of the show is to torture you.
Fuck it. Oh, man, I just remembered. You're not my ally, you're my enemy.
Exactly.
I love Cleavon Little, and he is a delight every second he's on screen in this. Now, I haven't seen anything else he'd been in. He has he had a prolific career all over the place, but I don't really know him from much else. But Blazing Saddles is such a beacon in my mind that it's like, oh, thank God, it's Cleavon Little.
Now, I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I'm right out of the gate disappointed because you said the name so slowly. I thought you were saying cleavage. Because you were like, we see a great sight, cleavage.
Well,
I was like, yeah, all right. Okay.
One of the pictures he adjusts is a giant portrait of the star of this movie with her tits out. So there is cleavage, kind of.
Okay.
It's a portrait,
I'll take it.
Yeah. You'll take it? Are you going to jerk off to my review?
I'll take it up to my room, and I'll be back in 35 seconds.
Well, it's good to know your timing has remained consistent over the year. So anyway, the bad part about this scene, because it's just like, it's long, and he's just kind of like I would say very deliberately stepping around this house, like dusting things and making very minor adjustments. But the bad part is there's kind of like a slow, deliberate, like samba or something. I don't know what kind of music it is, but it's like a sort of like a flamenco-y, ballroom-y, dancey kind of thing. And the problem is it sounded like it was recorded off-key, which is very like, oh God, it sticks in my craw real hard. And the scene takes way too long. Cleavon has a black rose he's carrying around in his mouth while he struts around the mansion doing his tidying over the credits. We eventually get him preparing a drink off screen in the kitchen, where he carries it and his rose on a breakfast in bed tray up to the bedroom, where a large and I thought surprisingly unimpressive coffin awaits, surrounded by a 4-poster shroud. There is a gigantic ancient tube television that is like clearly very modern for the time, but looking at it now, it's like, wow, look at that old piece of garbage.
Technology's so strange because that probably cost like $10,000 in 1985.
Because it was like, it's not like a big screen, like it's not taller than I am, but it's like, it's a large television for back then, and it's like such a piece of trash.
I know in the early 80s, VCRs cost over $1,000 in 1980s money.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Wild.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like several $1,000s of, that time's money. But it's just, there's not a lot of, like, parts of this movie where I think, like, oh, that's ancient technology. But, man, there's when they go to the phone call bar and when they, in this TV are really like.
Phone call bar.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna hate that. And speaking of the 80s, to a quick refresher, Isaac hates everything about the 80s.
It's the worst decade.
As time goes on, I'm getting to that point. But it has bad and good. It has 80s good and 80s bad. So this one kind of ends it, by the end of the movie, I think it ends at neutral. For me, anyway. You would hate all of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Cleavon wakes the woman in the coffin, who her name is she never gets a name other than the Countess. And I love minor nobility titles, and for a brief period of time, put significant effort into a way to legally become a duke. So I will absolutely be calling this character the Countess.
Fair enough.
She's played by Lauren Hutton, apparently an actress and model of a modest measure of fame. She did get top billing in this movie, but not a woman I'm particularly familiar with. I don't think she's been in anything else I've ever seen. Anywho, we open up the coffin and reveals that she's been listening to a radio in there. She has like a radio like stapled to the top of her coffin, which already makes her 500 times more interesting than anything a Twilight vampire has ever done, since she has an interest in literally anything else besides fucking Bella. See, if we're going to talk about vampires, I'm going to go relate to Twilight until the end of time because they're the worst of all vampires somehow. Of the worst class of people, they're among the worst of the worst.
I'm glad you basically have, like, Twilight cancer. Like, you just have a little growth of fucking Edward Cullen on your back.
Honestly, when you're bleeding in the street from the truck that I've hit you with, and I'm standing across your prone body as you're weakly begging for life, and I pull out a gun to shoot you in the head and end it, I'm going to lean down and whisper into your ear, you better hold on tight, Spider Monkey, as I blow your fucking brains out.
You pretty much just described the last scene from movie 43.
I know. I realized that halfway through, and I want to die now.
What's the name of the cat? Squeezels?
Beezle.
Beezle. Okay, there we go.
Beezle.
Great movie.
The Countess drinks her glass of blood, correctly deducing that it's an Austrian peasant from the early 1700s. Where did he get blood that old? Have they been hauling it around bottles of blood that are hundreds of years old for the last, like, several centuries?
People do that with wine, I guess. There's wine cellars and old wine.
Yeah, but it's like there's a throwaway line later about how they were in Europe. So, like, where are they getting this blood? Have they been, like, tapping peasants and just bottling the blood and just, like, having it shipped from Europe to them? Of course they have. Why am I asking?
Sure, why not? Or Hammer Space.
Oh, fuck's sake. We continue, and the Countess complains that it's not virgin blood. She and Cleavon grouse the time is running out until Halloween rolls around, and she has very little time to have the virgin blood of a young man 3 times before Halloween ends, which is sort of the driving plot of this movie. We don't know what... She's very cagey about what's going to happen if she doesn't, but apparently that's the secret to her vampirism, is she has to drink the blood of a virgin thrice before, like, the clock strikes midnight on All Hallows Eve. Apparently, Cleavon is her familiar and or a vampire himself. It's kind of vague. She has a group of various cronies who seem to be lesser vampires she has turned over the centuries, but we never see them drinking blood or killing people. In fact, I don't think anybody dies in this movie, and I did write something about how I don't think we ever see anybody else drink blood in this movie, but it happens like 4 times, and I'm just stupid and forgotten. She takes 2 sips from her blood sippy cup and then gives it back to... It's like a drink glass, but still.
Yeah.
She gives it back to Cleavon, and it's like... It's pretty lame blood, too. Like, obviously, it's cranberry juice in there. Like,
okay.
I've drank enough cranberry juice to know it when I see it.
I love me a good cranberry juice.
I used to really. Now it's like, now that I gave up drinking, like, all sugary drinks, I don't have a taste for it anymore. It's better than Lamageddon blood, but it's still pretty bad. Did Lamageddon happen, or did I just have a stroke that week? Because I have, like, disjointed images of that movie, and I'm like, that can't have been real. I don't know. Cleavon tells the Countess not to worry, and he is sure they will find her what she needs. Some of the lesser vampires come in to reluctantly tell her that the virgin hunt has not proved fruitful. I'm going to skip detailing the minor vampires and minor characters in this movie because none of them matter.
Virgin hunt has not proved fruitful.
No, I thought that's a good one, right?
I don't want to say it, but that's going to be the title of my autobiography. I don't actually hunt virgins, people. It's just a joke. I have a wife.
I just imagine you just, like, hunkered down on a tree branch and it just snaps and you just fall on the ground in front of, like, a bunch of 20-year-old women and just like, oh, my coccyx.
Are any of you virgins?
Local man kicked to death. No one mourned. There's the Countess's legion of turned humans. They include, like, a hippie, a Civil War soldier, an old World War I pilot, like 2 circus strongmen. It's just like a ridiculous collection of these fucking men from the centuries. They don't matter, but they do have like 2 scenes I thought were kind of amusing. So this movie has a whole gaggle of unimportant vampires that we don't have to care about. Instead of a gaggle of unimportant vampires we are supposed to pretend to care about. Steph Meyer, you twit. Anyway, the Countess chews them out for not finding a virgin and sends them back out in the case. The Countess is she is like a vampire, and she's the lead vampire, but she is, like, not even remotely spooky at any point in this movie. She is just, like, an exasperated mother. She is like she's supposed to be, especially in the context of later with Jim Carrey, she's supposed to be like this sort of mature, very in touch with her sexuality woman, and it comes across, but it's like, she is not even remotely spooky. Like, it's very 80s comedy. Like, it's not meant to be frightening at all. I just want to get that point across because it's. I feel like with her performance, it's one of those things, like, if you see it, you'll get it immediately, but it's hard to describe exactly how it is. So, yeah, her method is more like finger-wagging than actual usual vampire, over-the-top punishment. Fucking
Good. I'll make a note to watch this with my children.
You almost could. Nah, don't do that. Yeah, like, she's only a vampire because the movie says she is. She doesn't really do anything vampiric. I don't think any of them do anything vampiric. I think this movie might not have vampires in it. I'm genuinely not. It might just have a weird group of people who like to drink blood. They barely even have super strength. It's like one guy crashes through a floor, and that's it. Like, they're really not vampires.
No fast running, I guess?
No, not at all. No,
I guess it was before this was developed.
If you took out the word vampires and just replaced, like, cultists, it would work almost exactly the same. It would, like, be very, very similar movie. We cut to our other star, a young and allegedly virile Jim Carrey in one of his earliest roles.
Oh, he's virile. He likes to fuck.
And like we said, we talked about it a little bit, you know, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, a ton of movies over the decades now. His favorite movie of mine is one that I don't think a lot of people have seen, but it's called I Love You, Phillip Morris. It's based on
a good one.
Based on a true story, and it is a fucking phenomenal picture. It's also got Ewan McGregor. They play a gay couple. It is a fantastic movie, and it's based on a real-life criminal who is, like, the most incarcerated man because he's broken out of prison so many times to suck his boyfriend's dick.
That movie is very
That's like
fun.
by his description, basically. I'm not being crass. He keeps breaking out of prison to get back with Ewan McGregor. It's so good. I fucking love that movie.
Hey, if I had Ewan McGregor waiting for me on the outside of prison, I'd find a way to escape.
I agree. I agree. He, like, the real life criminal, he's like in a box with one tiny window and he gets one phone call a year because if he starts talking to people, he just gets out of jail. It just kept happening. It's amazing. I mean,
he faked he had AIDS and something, right?
Yeah. He made a makeshift doctor's uniform out of magic markers and just walked out once. Like this happened in real life. Like it's amazing. It's a fantastic story. It's kind of cruel to leave him in a fucking box with one window, but I mean,
he's asking for it.
I guess there's no other way to keep him in jail at this point. So Carrey and his girlfriend Robin, who is played by relatively unknown star Karen Copens, I think it's Copens. She didn't have a very extensive career. She stopped acting in the 90s and didn't, I think she had a brief arc on, like, Dallas, the TV show Dallas. So she didn't have much. But they're attempting to have sex in Carrey's ice cream truck. Carrey doesn't appear to be an ice cream salesman by trade, as he never explicitly states that. And when questioned about his job later, he says that he is a full-time student. But he has this truck. Never says, like, oh, I got a great deal at the chop shop or whatever. He just has this truck, and he does occasionally sell ice cream. So I don't know. I don't understand. He sells ice cream when he's not unsuccessfully trying to plow Robin anyway. He tries to convince her to finally do it with him as they've been dating for a while. He talks her into it, and they start making out, and eventually a man comes to the window requesting a creamsicle. Carrey gets rid of him and the foreplay resumes, but Robin says that despite how much she wants to do it, she wants it to be special, and this isn't her idea of special. We see that they're in this industrial factory parking lot, and it's full of other cars that are entirely full of couples making sweet, tender fuck in various comical positions. Eventually, every car on the lot is shaking rhythmically while he stands and bemoans his virginal fate. And oh, by the way, this movie absolutely does not hold up to any kind of modern standards, and he 100% should not be the hero of this movie.
Right, yeah.
But all I could say is we've had worse on this show, which is not a great defense, not even a very good defense, but, In
1985 morality, it weren't that bad.
Yeah, this is just...
Take it as a comment on how much we've grown as a society.
Yeah. Cut to a horrifying vision from the depths of hell as we have a giant clown-faced burger stand, like something you'd see in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh my god.
Carrey is there talking to his two friends who work the stand, which I'm going to call Stupid Friend and Horny Friend. That's their personalities. They're always together. Who cares? Stupid one is also horny, but it's...
And we'll just not decide. They just flip back and forth.
It's true, because I think we're technically both most of the time. So they're talking about sex and Carrey and Robin and blah, blah, blah. Typical teenage banter. They're allegedly in college, but as this movie goes on, I realize that I think the script changed 3 times as to how old they all are, and nobody quality controlled that part.
Oh my
because
God.
They say they're in college, but when they're in the school, it's clearly meant to be high school. Like, no college is like this fucking high school that they actually go to. And then later on, he says that he's 21 when he is definitely playing like 19 at best, even though I think at this point, Carrey was like 24. So it's very like a scattered shot as to how old he is. And I think there was like, I think at the start, this was intended to be he was a high schooler, but essentially it's about him not like raped, but raped by a vampire. And I think someone higher up was like, look, this is great, but you got to make him in college. And I think that then...
you might be giving too much credit to the producers. It might have just been easier and cheaper to film at a high school than a college. I can't imagine a producer sucking on a cigar in the 80s thinking that. Like,
it feels very... you're probably right. Just the way it's presented, it feels very like... This scene was shot when he was 18 in the script, and this scene was shot when he was 21 in the script, you know? I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I get the feeling that the quality... he was meant to be one age and then another, and there was quality control, and that was, like, probably done at the last second, and they just didn't do a great job of it.
Yeah. Rewrites are challenging, and you actually have to have attention to detail.
Yeah. There's a bafflingly unfunny scene here where Carrey demands his burgers cooked so burnt that they basically become charcoal, returning an extremely burnt hockey puck of a burger as it is too uncooked. It's a terrible setup for a bad payoff.
It's not a joke.
The banter goes on for a little longer and has not the worst dialogue ever written, but it's not remotely good either. You could definitely see Carrey's budding talent here, for sure. His face, his delivery... If I was a Hollywood executive chomping on a cigar, I'd be like, that kid's got something. It's clear that he is something special as far as actors go. And if nothing else, this movie was really interesting to see him here as he's basically a nobody. So this movie sucks and it's a terrible concept, but Carrey is young and fresh and full of piss and vinegar, and he's like clearly trying to prove himself, and it's a really bright spot. Like, it really shines. Like, his performance is really good. Like, he's... I was
curious what it would be like.
He's very charming. He's very funny. And it's like, it's clear that he is hungry to be a leading man. And he really like gives it his all. Like it's like a greater performance than I've seen from him in a long time, because he's so like, you know, he's like, this is my shot to prove that I can do this. And I think he nails it. I really do. Obviously he continued on to have a great career, but I really think like he really does nail it here. So the 3 dumbasses decide to go to Hollywood to go out to a sexy club and try to pick up chicks. Carrey doesn't want Robin to find out, but he's also open to the possibility of getting laid, so there's no pressure to do it with a woman he loves. Don't lie to your partners, kids.
Yeah, Jesus.
We get a montage here of the 3 boys driving through Hollywood in the ice cream truck, admiring the sights and having interactions with passing women, as there's like a whole country boy in the city vibe here, even though they definitely live in like some kind of suburbia setting. But whatever, it's Hollywood, so I guess it's supposed to be wild and wacky, sure. Now, you all know that I'm a sucker for a good soundtrack or a good fitting song in a movie. I bring it up almost every episode because a lot of times it gets to me. And this movie is no different. The issue here, this movie starts in this montage with what I feel is a great example of what a good 80s pop rock song should be. In the titular song written for the movie, also called Once Bitten, it's a catchy tune and it fits the montage well. And the problem is, while I do like this a fair bit, it goes downhill so quickly that it's like a contest to make me hate which song more. And they're trying really hard. Like, Once Bitten, I feel, is a really, like, a good 80s song. And I listened to it a couple of times because I'm an insane person. But the rest of the soundtrack, but with one exception, is wretched beyond belief. So...
Well, it's probably because the 80s is the worst decade for music.
It's a pretty bad decade for music. You're not going to get much argument from me there, music-wise. But I feel like that Once Bitten, that song is pretty good for what it is.
I'm curious. I might have to go listen. Is it available just as like a single?
Yeah,
on
if
YouTube
you just
or
look
whatever?
up Once Bitten theme, it'll come up. You'll find it. And yeah, it's worth listening to. I do like it. But with one exception later on at like the school dance, everything else is fucking god-awful. So anyway, some of the sights they see in their montage include a ton of neon signs, tour buses, a curbside photo shoot of a fake beach scene, and a woman taking a lion for a walk like I walk my dog, because Hollywood, it's wild and wacky. We also see the countess's minions stalking them as three dumbasses driving an ice cream truck through Hollywood absolutely must be virgins. But as far as montages go, this one's pretty good. It's weird. Usually we complain about montages on this show, but like this one was good. I have zero complaints with it.
If you get it right, montages are pretty great.
Yeah. Like the music's good. The idea of what they're trying to get across is good. Like, yeah, they did. It's
an effective piece of storytelling. It just is so often done terribly or for no reason other than padding time.
Yeah, no, this one was great. So the boys end up in a Dial-A-Date club. And what the Dial-A-Date club is, are you familiar with this at all? You have sort of, that laugh sounded knowing.
I'm just picturing, is this the phone bar thing?
Yes. Is that a thing?
I not that I really know. I'm just picturing a bunch of phones lined up and thinking about how the technology is very different now.
It's sort of like that. So what it is you get a table or a spot at the bar, and every table has a phone, which is shaped like a pair of lips. Because of course it is.
Yep.
And it's like kids back in the day, phones used to have cords connecting them to the base, and you had to hang the phone up. The reason we say hang it up when you end a phone call, children, is because you had to physically hang the receiver back on the base of the phone to end the call. There wasn't an end call button.
And the best phones were Garfield.
The best phones were Garfield. I had a Garfield phone, but we got it at Goodwill, but it didn't work. But I did have it. I love me some Garfield. There's a Garfield calendar next to this computer right now I'm looking at. The punchline is that he's awake, and John's like, it's about time. And he's like, there's no parade for me being awake.
I get it.
I love Garfield.
I empathize. I don't know. I'm turning more and more into Garfield.
Yeah,
as I get older.
I sympathize with Garfield very much so. So the boys they sit at a table, and there's this phone there, and you can call other people in the club. That's the idea. So you can dial a date. That's the whole thing. So this scene, it does meander quite a bit, which that's this movie's biggest problems, is that there's a lot of padding, which is it's not terrible. It does usually this scene, no. It does usually advance the plot, but it's these scenes fucking meander for so long, which is a big problem with 70s movies, and this one seems to be drawing on that from that well of just everything takes forever. Horny friend gets a call from a woman who turns out to be a man in drag, and of course he skedaddles away because ew, gross. I can't roll my eyes hard enough at our species' horrible past and horrible present and assuredly horrible future. So the boys are out there for a while, and eventually they get a call from a woman at the bar who requests that Carrie join her. Of course, it's the Countess, who seems far too interested in Carrie for his own good. She puts the moves on him, and by the way, she is a stunningly attractive woman. Carrie is a dork and bad at being smooth. Horny and stupid friends join a pair of ladies slightly older than them at a different table. The Countess might be sort of hypnotizing Carrie, possibly with magic or just her feminine wiles. We'll get to that at basically the end of the movie. I noticed behind him on the wall is a gigantic headset from an old-style phone that is it's 5.5 feet tall, into the wall halfway. And I can just imagine it's so tacky. I can see it on the home of some hipster in Portland who has a wax mustache. And I hate it.
Oh, God.
A short, stocky, jilted husband comes up to stupid friend and horny friend with their mature dates and starts calling his wife a whore and a pedophile. Horny friend tries to defuse the situation, but the jilted husband keeps going on and on and on, and eventually pulls out a pistol and begins firing wildly, clearing out the club.
Jesus.
The friends get arrested. I mean, it's played very comedically. He's firing into the air as a bouncer is grappling him. It's not even. It's
not
played entirely for
mass
comedy.
shooting.
No, he doesn't hit anybody.
Okay.
He's like George Costanza times 4. He's a worthless nobody loser, and he's fumbling with the gun, and a bouncer picks him up, and then he's like wow, wow, and he's firing into the air as he's getting manhandled. He's not shooting people. The two friends get arrested by lady cops and make a bunch of lady cop strip search jokes, blah blah blah, because of course it's a sex comedy in the 80s. And Carrie is whisked away by the Countess, who meets up with Cleavon and her gigantic limousine in the alley. So Carrie ends up at the Countess's mansion. We see the limo's plate is "Life sucks." Isaac, do you get it? Do you get the joke? It's because they're vampires. I'm glad you got the joke.
Explain that?
No, I can't. The scene also takes way too long for what it is, which again, this movie suffers from, and I feel there's a significant amount of padding that isn't funny enough to be included and doesn't advance the plot enough for the, it's too much, way too much.
It's almost like they bit off more than they could chew.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna end your life. Inside the mansion, Carrie asks if the Countess is a prostitute because he only has $5. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, boy.
The Countess takes a pull from a big bottle of blood in the fridge, which is funny because she's like a very sexy, put together, mature woman. But then she's really putting the moves on this dimwit Carrie. And then she turns to the fridge and she takes this giant jug in two hands and just takes a quick pull of it and just wipes her mouth. It's just Jesus fucking Christ. It was a good bit. The acting in this movie is very solid all around. I don't really have any complaints. It's odd. Usually I can't think of one performance that I thought was bad. Even the friends, they're no good and they're nobodies, but they did the job.
Yeah.
So the Countess leaves Carrie to go freshen up while Carrie examines a giant portrait of the Countess with her titties out that I mentioned earlier.
Titties.
In the bedroom, the Countess tells Cleavon to get out of the closet, to which he says he came out centuries ago. He's wearing a silken see-through shawl of hers over his clothes. I'm not sure if progressive or regressive on that one, but Cleavon is a delight, and I want to keep talking about him. And he is always in control of the situation in whatever scene he's in, so I think it's progressive. I don't know.
Probably.
For some reason, he's she tells him to get her made up. This is the dumbest thing in this whole movie because they sit across from each other at a little table, and there's this circular it's sculpture that kind of looks like a mirror with no glass in it that he makes her up through. I don't understand. It's very irritating. Why would you do that
strange.
That way? Yeah, I don't know.
It's vampires. It's how it works.
Vampires. He gets her all dolled up, and she goes out to Carrie, who at this point is fondling the titty in the portrait. Anyway, they talk some more, and none of it really matters. He's very awkward when she starts putting the moves on him. She bites off his buttons, which I didn't realize at the time was going to be the biggest running joke in this whole movie, because it's not a very good one.
Yeah, that's okay for a one-off, but I don't know if that's a runner.
It becomes the allegory for the battle of his soul, which we'll get to. This is dumb, and Carrie is talking too much, and she's basically getting ready to go down on him. But still, his talent is shining through here, and it's not terrible. He's doing a good job at being Jim Carrey, and it's very obvious. And eventually, as her head is down between his legs, he goes, "Ow!" And then, we, the audience, know that she's not blowing him because he has to be virginal. But for some weird reason, she always wants to bite him near the dick, which I had forgotten in a throwaway scene we learn later, but there is a reason for this. But first, she always bites him on the taint, basically.
Isn't that a thing in Twilight where the best blood is the inner thigh?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. But there is a reason for it. It's just it's
I might be
given
confusing that with what's that show called? True Blood.
That sounds more right because they definitely fuck a lot more on that show than in Twilight ever did.
Yeah.
So Cleavon goes down to talk to the vampire goons. None of this matters. They talk about Carrie a bit, and Cleavon lays down the law for them all to make Carrie feel welcome when he becomes a thrall like they are. The only reason worth mentioning this here is that all the goons have specialty coffins based around their personalities and what year they were bitten. So the Civil War vampire has a Confederate flag coffin. The old-timey sailor has one with a wooden ship glued to the top, and it's just a barrel. There's a hippie, a Charles Manson-esque hippie who has a wicker basket coffin. For a fucking a franchise character that is the vampire, this is the cleverest joke I've ever seen about vampires because all vampire lore is the worst. But this at least was oh, that's kind of clever. So I enjoyed that for what it is.
You're liking this way too much.
You're not going to like my rating. Anyway, Carrie is asleep on the couch with his pants around his ankles while Cleavon and the Countess discuss his fate. Apparently his blood can't be tired. Whatever the fuck that means. So they can't just chain him up to a bedpost. He has to go back to normal life until it's time for the second bite. Not at all contrived, but it's very dumb because she's Cleavon is like, well, what are we going to do with him? And she's like, well, you can't leave him here. And he's like, why did I put him in the basement with the others? And then she's like, well, tired blood is of no use to me. What the fuck does that mean? It's so lame to get him to like go back into the real world instead of the obvious solution, which is chain him to a wall and just bite him on the leg every couple of days till your job's done. It's stupid.
Yeah, or at least you could have him escape or something like that.
Right. I don't understand it. So he wakes up. The Countess lies and tells him they did the old Dracula twist, which is obviously a euphemism for fucking and sucking. Oh, I hate myself so much. And then he politely kicks him out as daylight is fast approaching. She has to see him again soon, but he tells her he has a girlfriend. Again, our hero. The Countess says she doesn't mind being the other woman, so Carrie says he'll be in touch. As he departs, she tells him she'll see him in his dreams, which is about the most terrifying thing a sexual partner could ominously say as I drove away from them. Cut to school the next day. This is allegedly college, but it's fucking high school, obviously. Carrie is in the lunch line and requests a raw burger. Get it? That's why he liked his burgers cooked so much earlier, so we could get this stark contrast. Because now he likes raw meat, like
but he's not a
everybody
vampire,
else.
is he?
Well, you'll see. That's the next 45 minutes of movie. But now the thing is, like, he liked the super unbelievably well done burned to a crisp burger before, but now he likes raw meat, which is like what everybody else. People don't eat raw meat, so the contrast is way overdone, fellas. Horny friend and stupid friend ply him for his fuck details. Horny friend has a shirt that says freelance gynecologist.
Oh boy.
My next line was cue Isaac's laugh, so I guess I got that one wrong. There we go.
I'm growing as a person. I want to be paid for my services.
Freelance people still get paid.
Okay.
Well,
complimentary gynecology. That's what my shirt will say.
Pro bono gynecologist.
All
right. Well, call Cafe Press. We got to start making shirts. Well, they talk about the night, which Carrie calls unsatisfying because he doesn't really remember anything. Robin happens to overhear and walks off in a huff, pissed off that Carrie obviously and clearly cheated on her. He admits it straight off, but says he isn't actually sure if he fucked the Countess or not, but saying that all he remembers is that she bit off his buttons, which, again, keeps coming up. Robin is outraged, and this is... Okay, I'd forgotten about this. This is what I mean about how I think this movie had, like, different drafts, and they filmed different parts, and I think this is from a different draft because Robin takes off her ring and hands it to him, saying, like, take back your stupid ring. They were never engaged. He calls her his girlfriend the entire time. He doesn't give her a ring in the first scene or anything, and the ring is never mentioned again. So I think this was a cutting room floor thing, which further lends to my theory of, okay, I bet at one point they were engaged, and that I really feel like there was some kind of, like, somebody at the end of it was like, you got to change, this is fine, but you got to change some of this to make it work, you know.
You might have a point there.
Yeah.
When did promise rings start being a thing? I feel like that happened later.
I don't know. I only know like two people who had such a thing.
Silly promise rings.
Yeah, it seemed a bit silly. So yeah, they're broken up forever, I'm sure. We get a weird scene here where Carrie is in the wrong class dissecting a frog wearing sunglasses inside, followed by a scene where he's at home. He lives with his parents in like a room that's very obviously set up like a 16-year-old's room, not the room of an adult. And he's sleeping inside of like a trunk instead of on his bed, which weirds his dad out. He then has a dream in this weird white space with like all this, there's like a smoke machine in the front, and it's like set up like they're in this ethereal dream space. It's he and the Countess at a little round table in front of a black flamingo statue, while Cleavon Little on roller skates keeps skating past, playing romantic music on an accordion. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it's a very ethereal, very funny scene.
I love that.
And credit again to Jim Carrey here. His talent really shows. He like puts 2 cigarettes in his mouth and like comically tries to light them and keeps fumbling it, and it's like very. It's very funny. It's I don't have anything else to say about it. It's like played very well. He has a very good idea of what he's doing. The Countess starts the process of giving him a foot job under the table, and they kiss, and the dream ends with Cleavon roller skating around, and Carrie suddenly sees the Countess's mouth like dripping with blood after they kiss. But again, this is listed as a horror movie. She has like one teensy trickle of blood down the side of her lip. Like,
right, it's not bubbling out of her mouth.
No,
and
it's
flowing
not
over
fucking
her
frothing
big
and
boobies.
Llama-geddening all over him.
Man, there's a TikTok thirst trap chick who's got a whole blood dripping down her mouth onto her cleavage, and I like it too much, man. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. I'm actually not interested. I don't even really. No, it doesn't do anything for me.
I don't want to do blood play or anything like that. But
yeah, no, that does nothing for me. The thought of blood being involved. I don't mind. I'm into a lot of stuff, but like, I don't think I want. It just sounds like a mess. I got sheets, man. I gotta sleep in this house. There's blood all over
that's
it.
why you go out to the garage where you have like plastic lining over everything because of the mural you're painting. Yeah.
All right.
Let's move on.
Yes. Next day, Robin is out with her friends, and the movie continues to fail the Bechdel test as all they can do is talk about Carrie.
Yay.
He appears and wants to talk to Robin. He tries very lamely to apologize to her, telling her it's not his fault because he was drunk. He's also now wearing his hair differently, which everybody keeps commenting on. He has it like slicked back. He tries to apologize to her, but doesn't take any responsibility for his action. Robin, in true 80s movie woman fashion, manages to blame herself because she wouldn't bone Mark in the ice cream truck, and therefore he was too pent up. Of course. God. Again, our hero.
The society's ability to simultaneously slut-shame people and then also blame people for not putting out is so confusing.
Isn't it great? I'm glad we're better than we were in the 80s, but it's still a huge, terrible problem, and I hate it. And the two of them laugh like this cycle is just the most natural thing in the world. So Robin says she wants to fuck him as much as he wants to fuck her, but she has to be ready. So they're back together. Good fucking hate that. I hate it. I hate that part.
Oh, boy.
Terrible. Back at the mansion, the Countess again orders Cleavon out of the closet as he was trying on her clothes again. Nothing major here. More the two of them musing.
See, that's a good runner.
Yeah, it's Cleavon Little is so entertaining, and he's such a good actor, and he just steals the scene when he's in it. Because he's just like this... He's like the world's best butler, basically, but he's like he has command of every scene that he is on screen for.
God damn it, I want to watch this movie now. I'm getting upset.
So they're musing on the glory days of vampirism and making more plans to go out and find Carrie since he hasn't called in 3 days. Oh, that's right. I remember why I put this now. She suggests they go look for him, and Cleavon is aghast. And he is like, us invade suburbia? And I watch with subtitles because I'm deaf. And I was looking at this, and I saw the line. He's like listing off things in suburbia, and it's bowling alleys, Arby's, Chicken McNuggets. And I looked at this, and I said to myself, he is going to say Chicken McNuggets. And he goes, bowling alleys, Arby's, Chicken McNuggets. And I'm like, fucking nailed it. I nailed it, and it's so funny. And I knew it was coming, and I'm like, it's so good. So the whole scene I mentioned is only how I could say how I'm never going to call Chicken McNuggets anything but Chicken McNuggets for the rest of my life.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
God
Bless you, Cleavon Little. We follow up this relatively pointless scene with another pointless scene of Carrie meeting up with Robin while stupid friend and horny friend try to pick up women at the laundromat. Ultimately, that goes nowhere as an older woman offers to handcuff and beat horny friend, who immediately flees because he's, of course, not into that. These two friends suck because they're like the stereotype of like Porky's. If you've ever seen Porky's, which is like, I want to say the proto sex comedy sort of teen.
Yeah, that's
movie.
What I know it as.
Yeah, it's not it's interesting as a piece of history, but it sets this trope of like, it's the teenagers who are obsessed with sex to the point of all else. Like, it's literally the only thing they can think or talk about. Yeah, teenagers are pretty obsessed with sex, but also like, they can also do other stuff. But
yeah.
Obviously,
and from what I remember, Porky's is, especially these days, very problematic.
Oh my God, yeah. No, it's real rough. It's real rough.
It's a piece of history.
Yeah.
Whatever the Song of the South or whatever movie, some movie like that.
Yeah. At least in the second Porky's, they do end up like thwarting a group of Nazis. That's the only good thing I have to say about Porky's. They do end up. There ends up being like a whole Ku Klux Klan rally that they steal all their clothes and they're all naked. It's about getting rid of Nazis. And then the third one is about Porky's on a riverboat. I don't know. I didn't see that one, but I just know they rebuild it on a riverboat.
Is that like a crossover with Deliverance?
No, it's like an old Southern like paddle boat, riverboat gambling.
Squeal like a porky for me.
Pretty much, yeah. No, those movies are bad. But yeah, these two friends are that stereotype of like, whatever they're up to, it's about trying to get laid. They're talking about, like, they're comparing condoms, and they're, like, talking about, do you have money for the hotel room when we absolutely for sure pick up these chicks at the laundromat? It's tired. Looking at it now, it's like, yeah, this trope was done in every sex comedy in the fucking 80s and the 90s and probably the early 2000s as well.
I'm sure it still happens to some extent.
Probably. We just don't see those movies as much anymore. No. I feel like, as a whole, cinema has gotten better about this kind of thing. For like the things that get popular, at least.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, the blah blah blah. The 80s truly were horrible. You're right. The only reason I mention this scene at all is because the dryers in this laundromat are the exact same model as the ones still in use at my local laundromat. Same color and everything, and it is a sobering reminder of where I live is the absolute worst.
I see. I'm going to take an optimistic outlook and say those dryers are really well built.
Oh, they were broken constantly. I'm glad I don't have to go back there anymore. They were frequently, week to week, they'd be like, this one's broken, and it works next week, and it doesn't work the next week, and then the week after, it works, but it doesn't have any heat. It just tumbles. So, it's terrible.
Larry just crushed my last glimmer of optimism.
Sorry, not sorry. Meanwhile, Carrie and Robin are at the very 80s department store where she works at. It sucks. I hate it. There's like a mall near me that has a store very similar to this that I also hate that my sister has dragged me to once. She's picking out clothes for him to try while he dances around like a goofball. He accidentally bites her when they kiss because, again, he's turning into a vampire. Okay. He has what is seeming to be, but to everyone else, a weird desire to wear black clothes. I guess in the 80s, sure. In the dressing room, he goes to change his pants, but the Countess is there waiting for him in a leather jacket, and she doesn't appear in the mirror, obviously, because she's a vampire. She says she's been here watching him. Robin is tossing sweaters over the door for him to try, which are baby blue and pink, which the Countess is like, ugh, barf, and throws them back. She mocks Robin for being an immature twerp. Carrie desperately tries to get her not to blow it with Robin, and we get a whole gag here where Robin gets offended that Carrie is being mean to her when he's actually yelling at the Countess. It's very 80s and very tropey and very tired. Anyway, the Countess bites his buttons off, and then we get an off-screen yelp because she bites his taint again. Back at Carrie's home, we get a quick scene where his parents are worried about him, and he accidentally drinks a cup of meat squeezins instead of the orange juice, having now slicked his hair back full time and wearing all black. He sits around in the ice cream truck, and as two boys buy ice cream from him, he suddenly turns and does the classic vampire hiss at them, causing them to run off. He seems very shocked at why he did this, and the boys run off like he's the devil, but...
Yeah, he just hissed at them.
He doesn't have fangs. He's just a weirdo who just went like, ah! Which...
Like, if you just did that, if we were in the same room, I would
a kid would probably run up and kick me in the balls, and he'd have every right to. I wouldn't press charges. All right. So speaking of pointless scenes, Carrie goes into a church to go into a confessional. And the only reason I mention this whole scene is because the organ music here is off key, and again, it's like nails on a chalkboard. There's a homeless drunk lounging in the pews who wanders into the other end of the confessional booth from Carrie. Carrie details all his indiscretions and how he's afraid if something's wrong with him, and the drunk basically just says that he's fucked. That night, we have another dream in the white space. Jesus Christ. And this time it's like Robin is in white on a big bed, and there's like, they're not in a room, but it's again, the white space. It's supposed to be like ethereal. Yeah. And there's like a window that the Countess is standing in front of in like a big, stiff, collared cape like a vampire would wear. And this terrible bat puppet flies to the window. Like, the wings aren't even connected for anything except like strings. And again, it's dumb, but it's played to be dumb, and it works. It's funny.
Yeah, and like, if it's self-aware enough, you know.
She opens the window for him, and it like poofs into a person, and it's Jim Carrey, basically just as Dracula. Like, pale face, ridiculous. Like, this is like 50s Dracula, not modern cool Dracula. Like, blah, Dracula. Bela Lugosi Dracula. And he is like doing his hiss routine while he's like holding his hand and like twiddling his fingers over top of Robin. And then he, like, bites her on the neck, and, like, the little blood comes out. And then he, like, the Countess is laughing. And the only bad part is he puts his arms up, like, in victory, and does a werewolf howl, which is, like, a stock werewolf howl sound, which fucking vampires and werewolves can't escape. But, again, this was very funny because it's very silly, and it's meant to be, and, like, it fits. So, I liked it. we cut to Halloween, I think, or it's just the night of the Halloween dance. I guess it can't be Halloween, thinking about the plot. But anyway, there's this Halloween dance that's been happening, probably wasn't happening in the background. Robin has arrived to the party dressed as Jill, as in Jack and Jill, and is asking why Carrie didn't dress up. He says he isn't wearing a costume, but she assumes he's dressed like a vampire since he's wearing all black, a black leather jacket with slicked back hair and sunglasses, to which he vehemently protests is not a vampire costume. That's pretty much the joke of the next 10 minutes, which is dumb as hell. Everybody loves Carrie's vampire costume, but I'm not wearing a costume. The music playing for this beginning part is horrendous, and I hate it. I hate it so much. And this is the shitty 80s music that the world didn't need. Everybody's dancing around in their goofy costumes. Robin and Carrie run into horny friend and stupid friend, and they all sort of hang out and dance before suddenly the Countess appears and starts dancing with Mark. Isaac, this scene is amazing, and I love it. A circle forms around them as they have what is absolutely the best sequence in the movie, as the two women start angrily dance fighting for Carrie's affections. A good song kicks back in, it's not a great song, but it's very fitting for the dance-off because in the chorus even is like, hands off, he belongs to me. And the acting here is pretty well done. It's very tropey, but it's well done, and maybe it's just me, and I'm learning about myself through just recording the bells on Netflix. I think I love dancing, which I didn't know about myself. But all three of them look like they're really enjoying themselves. And Carrie is like, he's got good moves. It's very funny. The girls take turns trying to seduce him, basically. While Carrie starts off like confident and a willing participant, he's like quickly becomes panicked and helpless as the Countess starts biting off his buttons. And Robin is like, to get his attention back, because the Countess also like has hypnotism basically, and Robin has to break the hypnotism by basically out-sexying the Countess. And she's been like this, she's usually wearing like overalls, and she's been very like, I don't want to have sex with you till I'm ready, and blah blah blah. But she has to basically strip to break this hypnotism.
I know what my sexual dream fantasies are going to be for the next several decades.
Honestly, for being like 80s and it's like not even close to being anything we would see now. I mean, I could find porn of anything nowadays. This is like, she ends up in a leotard. It's like, she's not even in like her underwear.
Right, yeah.
So, but it's sexy. I'm not gonna say it's hot. It's sexy. Like, I dig it. I really do. And so, yeah, and eventually like, and it's not only are they like dancing for like poor Jim Carrey, who's basically just being battered back and forth by the end of this between the two of them, but then like it's eventually the Countess just tries to fucking stab Robin with this big poker, and like Carrey gets between them, and that turns into dancing. I'm not. It's like 2 or 3 minutes of entertainment, and I am not ashamed at all to say I thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing.
When dancing and music happens, you're way too tickled pink. I'm learning. If dancing is good, I really enjoy it. I didn't know this about myself, but over the past few years, I'm coming to like. Should have been musical theater.
No, I can't. I don't want to dance. Not really.
You could be the choreographer who yells at everyone and has a clipboard.
Oh God, I sound like a guy I'd hate. And I hate myself, so perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
So ultimately, like, Robin just basically strips down to a leotard and dances her heart off and wins the dance off and subsequently the battle for Carrie's mortal soul, for now anyway. The Countess fucks off into the night angrily while Cleavon tells her he has a plan, while Carrie and Robin are tearing up the dance floor. And also, when they're leaving, they're like storming out. And they walk past somebody dressed as a nun, and the Countess just casually just shoves her over, which is she's a vampire and it's a nun. It's very good.
Yeah. All right.
In a podcast where usually I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel for a chuckle, this was a great bit of movie, and I had a fun time with it.
I'm so disappointed.
Well, right back to trash. Carrie wins the costume contest, but is pissed and storms off into the night since he's not in a costume. Robin goes after him and tries to calm him down. They end up in front of a mirror, and Carrie's reflection disappears. There's back and forth padding here, but eventually Robin can see it too, that his reflection is gone. Carrie deduces that the Countess is turning him into a vampire. Robin is skeptical until she kind of agrees when she sees that his reflection is gone. She goes to a bookstore for information, and I'll skip the bookseller, whose entire joke is that he has a funny accent. Long and short of it, Robin gets that's the movie. It's not me. Their movie is like, oh, his bit is he doesn't talk good American like you and me. Robin gets the information that the Countess needs virgin blood, and the bookseller mocks Carrie for being 21 and a virgin. Robin learns that the Countess would have bitten him near the balls, since that's where the untapped sexual potency hides. So I guess that's why all the taint bites.
I guess that's why all the taint bites.
Robin drafts the horny and stupid friend into helping her to find out if Carrie is a vamp by shaming them into being real friends by checking his taint in the shower to see if he has bites there.
So How do they check his taint?
You can guess what happens in the college/high school shower as they awkwardly try to drop the soap and just look at his balls, basically, to see if there's bites there. So while this is happening, they get discovered by another student who screams, "Alert, alert," derogatory word for homosexuals in the shower. And then all the guys run out screaming that same word because our male trio, his homosexuality is just so fucking frightening to these rubes. So yeah, real nice. But the 80s, it's a terrible decade.
It's a different time.
A different terrible time, unlike the current terrible time we live in now. So now the whole college thinks that they're gay. At Clown Burger, the two friends are moaning about their now reputation as homosexuals. Carrie comes in and yells at them for trying to look at his taint instead of just talking to him about his taint. Always talk to your friends about their taints, kids.
Claire, how's your taint?
It's itchy. Meanwhile, in the lot, Robin is very easily kidnapped by Cleavon in the limo. It looks like he just basically asked her to get in, which she calmly does. And then Carrie and the boys hop into the ice cream truck to give chase. The boys arrive at the mansion and head inside to save Robin. They bust open a basement window and sneak into a concrete basement room, where they quickly find Robin tied to a very swanky 80s chair. Robin tells Carrie that he's still a virgin, as the Countess needed his virginity for her whatever the hell she's doing. I'm not even sure. She never really says why she needs to become a... Well, it's a very disappointing reason as to why she needs to do this, but we'll get there. As the humans leave, they're accosted by a pack of the Thrall vampires in tuxedos who recapture them. Upstairs in the main hall, all the vampires are dressed in their Sunday finest around what appears to be a gynecological exam chair, not even a joke. Carrie's pants are removed and he's strapped in. The chair is in front of a giant pair of cheap Halloween store bat wings, which just looks so cheesy, even for the 80s. They have black Christmas garland fringe. It's so terribly cheesy.
Oof.
The Countess makes her grand speech and reveals her fangs to Carrie. Finally, the vampires all show their fangs because they hadn't before. And I was not sure if they were even going to do that, because I genuinely, at this point, they're only vampires because the movie said they're vampires. He begs her not to bite his buttons, and also don't turn me into a vampire. The Countess apparently does have hypnotism of some sort. She hypnotizes Carrie, resulting in what is probably the first recorded instance of Jim Carrey's grinchy, too big for his face smile. That's one of his trademarks, sort of. The Countess spreads Carrie's legs and goes in for the taint bite. Robin and friends break free and hold the vampires off with a crucifix and some long-handled torches. Robin breaks the hypnotism by reminding Carrie of how much he wants to fuck her. Despite the fact that there's 10 vampires, the two friends manage to hold them off with just two really shitty torches. It's long-handled, maybe 3 feet long, with a little flame at the end.
Huh.
If vampires are so afraid of fire, why the fuck do they have ceremonial torches for what is essentially just a dick bite? It's just dumb. Just bite his taint and move on. The Countess tells Robin that the crosses only works in the movies and that she's an atheist, which for some reason I found really amusing. But looking back, it's not that funny. But in the minute, I was tickled by that. But the friends scare her off with the fire, which they are scared of. Again, why do you have 20 candles if you're scared of fire? Or torches, rather. They free Carrie and make as if to escape. The Countess tries to re-hypnotize Carrie, promising him all kinds of sucking and fucking, which works briefly, but Robin interrupts it with another decent line. Quote, "He doesn't want you because you're mean and evil. He wants me because I'm nice and sweet and pure. So fuck off!" Which, again, not the best line ever written, but in the moment, I found it amusing.
Especially if it's delivered well.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And it's the only fuck in the entire movie. So,
okay, that's that weird rule where you get one fuck for a
fuck.
PG-13.
Yep. A chase scene ensues. I'll just hit the big points because it's overly long, as a lot of things in this movie are. The friends succeed in holding off the vampires for a little bit, but eventually the group gets by them. Those two end up talking to two of the lady vampires, and after some pointless banter, the two lady vampires get naked, so I guess they're going to bang, and we never see those people again, so whatever. Robin and Carrie run all throughout the manor. Nothing really notable for a while. Some slapsticks, some mild physical gags. The vampires are easily bamboozled. There is one scene where one of the thralls is about to break down a locked door, and the Countess stops him, yelling something like, I have to replace every one of these doors you guys break, so try the knob. And, like, the thrall, like, very slowly and sheepishly tries the knob, and then is, like, trying to shrug it off. And it's a funny little passing gag.
Yeah. I like those gags that are kind of, like, almost break the fourth wall, but, like, not really. But kind of like these things in movies you see, but just the reality of like, why do you have to break everything? This has to get fixed.
Well, it's also very funny because in my head, I was like thinking, I was starting to type the words like in my head because I hadn't started the review yet of like, why are they breaking her house? Because they like the one smashes through the floor, and that's like the first time I had been trying to track of like, are these vampires or not? Because they don't have super strength or turn into bats or do anything, but they want to drink blood, kind of. And then I was thinking, like, yeah, they're tearing up her house, and then, like, 10 seconds later, she's like, stop tearing up the house. So, I thought it was good.
It's like the Twilight fight in the bad guy's temple or whatever, where they smash all the marble
stairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, Robin and Carrie end up in the room with all the coffins, and the vampires are beating on the door because they have the doors locked. We see the vampires burst in and find the room empty. However, the one coffin that had been meant for a soon-to-be vampified Carrie is rocking back and forth and squeaking. The Countess angrily opens it up, and Robin sits up looking satisfied, spitting a button into the Countess's face. Carrie sits up with 2 lit cigarettes in his mouth, also looking satisfied, and since his purity has now been forever robbed from him, he is no longer any good to the Countess. The strike of midnight chimes, and the Countess is struck by a wave of terrible CGI glowies that turn her into an old woman. You can tell they had to have her stay perfectly still in order for the CGI to work. So her, like, oh no, I'm melting acting is very stilted because she, like, can't move a muscle, basically.
That's amazing.
Cleavon leads the poor elderly Countess away. Carrie and Robin, having won the day, decide to fuck again, closing the casket as they resume banging over the semi-banger that is, once again, the Once Bitten theme. So, what to say about this? It's not a good movie, clearly. It has a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes for a reason. It is all the best and worst parts of the 80s put together, and like we've mentioned many times, the 80s is a shit decade and everyone from it sucks. That said, like I pointed out several times, Jim Carrey really shines in this like a bright star, and like he clearly was trying to make a name for himself and really does a phenomenal bang-up job. His talent shines through in almost every scene that he's in, and you can like get little hints of the things he's going to do later. Like at one point, I remember when he's like getting the burnt to a crisp hockey puck burger, he is like, now that's a burger. And it's like a very, if you had played that for me in my head, not knowing what Jim Carrey's voice sounded like, I'd be like, did Jim Carrey say that? That sounds like Jim Carrey said it. It's like, it's very fascinating. And I found Robin's actress to also be pretty good too for the role she was in. Same thing with Lauren Hutton, who played the Countess. She wasn't my favorite, but she does play that role of like the older, experienced woman tempting a younger man away from his virgin girlfriend with like sex promises. She does the role well. And the vampire stuff is very lame. The plot takes some gigantic leaps of pitfalls over its own creation, like the tired blood thing. God, that's fucking dumb. And really, it's so contrived for the sake of we need to have him on the outside world turning into a vampire for 30 minutes. So you have the usual gay and trans panic present in every other fucking older comedy because there's no escape from that because back in the day, that's funny to think that everybody who's not straight is bad. But on the other hand, at least Cleavon is like the smoothest, most debonair man in this and most other. He's more smooth and debonair than even other Bowles movies we've had. And he is openly gay and never depicted as anything but in control of the situation in every scene he's in. So there's something. I'll give them that at least.
Yeah.
There's a lot of needless padding that doesn't have a point other than to prove Carrie is turning into a vampire. There's a big middle point where the movie kind of drags that I sort of just kind of glossed over pretty quick. The parts that I enjoyed, I really enjoyed. And this might be the first Bowles movie in my half that I can recall where the montage was perfect. Like, correct music, correct action, fit the theme, move the plot along. Like, it gave us plot details as part of it. And I'm certain this is specific to me, but I enjoyed the dance scene way more than I should have. It's the height of cheesiness, to be absolutely sure, but I found it wildly entertaining. And Carrey shines there the brightest. And it's definitely the best part of this movie. Like, he really shows off in that, and it's great. Overall, is this movie good? No. Is it bad? It's pretty bad. Is it terrible? Absolutely not. Did I enjoy it? Mostly. Yes. I waffled on this for a long time, but I gotta give this a 5 out of 10.
Damn.
I wouldn't willingly seek this out, but at no point did I feel hate in my heart. Boredom? Yes. Irritation? Certainly. But it's not worth some of the low scores that some of the terrible things I've been made to watch have earned.
Yeah.
This entertained me enough that if you asked me for a good, bad movie, I'll throw this in contention. It's not the best of the best or the worst of the worst by far. But as far as bad movies go, it's all right. It's not good enough to watch again, but not bad enough to throw out with the bathwater. Jim Carrey really saved this quite a bit with his performance, for sure. And I'm not even a giant fan of his or anything, but like his sheer talent like shone through every scene that he was on camera for. And I came close to, like, you know, besides the dance scene, which I obviously enjoyed, I came close to actually enjoying this at points. Not really, but close. So, yeah.
That's a lot coming from you. Is that the highest score you've given? Or did you give something else
No,
a 5?
I gave something a 7. I don't remember what. There was something I actually enjoyed. I'd have to look. What was it? And if I could go back in time, I think I gave the package a 4. If I could go back in time, I'd probably give that like a 6. If I could change my... Because like as time went on, I thought about that more and I realized that I actually did enjoy that movie. I don't think I mentioned this in the past. If I had to... There was a movie I definitely gave like a 7 or an 8 because I ended up really enjoying it. Like you totally missed. I forget what it is though.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But then...
Write in, let us know.
Yes, please do. Then I would probably say that after that would be the package, and this would be my third favorite so far. Like, it's not very... It drags a lot. But, like, it didn't... The parts that were good didn't drag, so it didn't feel like... It didn't... The parts that dragged were like, yeah, whatever. His dad was weirded out because he slept in a trunk. Fine, sure. Get to the next thing. Like, it was easy to gloss over that stuff because the rest wasn't as terrible. So, yeah, this is not a fantastic movie, and I don't really encourage you to watch it, but if you happen to see it on, like, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, based on what you've said here today, I'm gonna watch this.
Okay.
And because there's been some things that I've had to watch parts of out of a morbid curiosity of, is it really this bad?
Yeah.
But this, I legitimately want, mostly to see Carrey's performance, but there's enough other stuff you said that I'm like, you know, yeah.
It's a bad 80s movie, but as far as bad 80s movies go, it's all right. It really is.
Well, I've disappointed, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you did. You definitely didn't. You didn't hit the nail on the head this time. But I mean, you know, looking at it on paper and looking at it like the scores and everything, I don't think you fucked up. I think you just, you know, it was just a whiff. Like it looked like it should have been bad. I hate vampires. You know that about me. This was a very obvious like. Look at, and I don't hate Jim Carrey. I don't love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's fine as far as I'm concerned.
He has hits and misses.
Yeah, like Dumb and Dumber does nothing for me.
Oh, that one's good.
Well, what's his? I mean, The Mask is okay. You know, he has other stuff that's good, but it's like not my favorite. Like I have no qualms with him. I just don't seek him out. But boy, did his talent really show here. And like, and
he is a talented man.
It wasn't until the end of the movie where I was reasonably satisfied that, oh, okay, these people are actually vampires.
that part is strange.
Yeah, because they're so it's not about them being vampires. It's just Lauren Hutton has to bite Jim Carrey on the taint. That's really all that mattered. So yeah, no, and yeah, I this one surprised even me that it being not too bad, a 5 out of 10. So.
Well, golly gee. I'm sure next week we're going back to not liking movies because I'm covering the fucking Bruce Willis as a way too old man to be in an action movie vehicle called Breach, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine that being anything.
There's no way. No.
Horrible.
No, it's not going to.
Congo.
It's more than
Congo was the one I had.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's just a weird. That's an outlier in all
ways, shapes, and Congo's forms. A movie everyone should hate, but I fucking love it. So yeah, this I would say that Once Bitten enters the rarefied hallowed halls of Bowles movies that Larry likes.
I should get you movie posters of the movies you like.
Oh. Oh, man. So it's been, Congo, The Package, and What's Bitten. What a weird...
An odd combination of films.
Yeah. Jesus.
Speaking of things hanging on your wall, that picture's crooked, you son of a bitch. Fix that.
Which picture?
Behind you.
Oh, the one of me and my little sister that I'm never going to show to anybody? Yeah.
Get it straight. It's driving me nuts.
I'm going to make it more crooked now, you dumb idiot.
No.
You fool. Because I am in this room only to record this show and to work from home. So...
Jesus.
Oh, I can see it. It is crooked. Yeah, I rarely look at my camera, so... Oh, you have fucked up now.
Well, I'm going to make you suffer because...
That picture hasn't been touched in probably 15 years.
Damn it. Why did I say it?
Yep.
Okay. I'll just have to... I'll put a piece of tape over my screen. All right. Well, your next movie after I cover Breach.
Yeah, we forgot to do that. What platform?
Amazon.
God damn it.
And if Bezos tries to screw you again and make you pay for this, we'll find something else for you. Let me know, because this is not.
That was. I'm not upset about that at all. I'm upset at Bezos for fucking me, but like, it was free.
I don't want it to happen every time. So if it's a pattern,
it was definitely free the first time we looked at it, and then when I watched it, it was rental, and then when I watched it again, it wasn't. So, all right. If
you somehow like this, I will shut my cock in a car door.
Did you ever see the video?
Because this looks...
I got a video to show you when we're done.
Oh, Jesus.
No, not a cock in a... It's just a meme that's been going around.
This looks like the thing you probably would hate the most. Because I don't think you like either of these platforms, even though they're both pretty popular. And I partly enjoy the one.
Okay.
And haven't really seen the other one. But this is a parody of two very famous platforms called the Hungover Games.
Oh, God. You know what the worst part is? Is that I'm looking on my Prime homepage. There's a movie called The Starving Games. A different fucking knockoff. Oh, my God. The Hungover Games. No, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep. Yep.
I'm
making up for this week.
Yeah, no, I won't like this. I'm almost positive.
You don't like parodies very much, usually.
No, well, no one does. No one does. They're not good.
You, the one from the 2000s that I always forget what it's called.
Scary movie? Oh, not another teen movie. Yeah, I have. That's more of I have fond memories of it, but I know it's not good.
I've heard other people say good things about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than fucking Scary Movie 4. Starring Marlon Wayans and a bunch of other assholes. The Hungover Games. After celebrating Doug's upcoming wedding in a Laughlin, New NV? What is Nevada? Idiot. I work in a job where there's all I deal with state abbreviations, and I wanted to say New Vegas, which is the name of which is a fucking Fallout game that I play sometimes.
You nerd.
Yeah, I know. With Laughlin, Nevada, hungover guys Bradley, Ed, and Zach wake up in a futuristic dystopia, having lost their pal Doug. With the help of Effing and Just Mitch, the trio's loyal advisors, the gang must now prepare to battle their way through the districts of the Hungover Games, including the Real Housewives of District 8 and Teddy from the Puppet District. So, oh God, so it's just fucking Scary Movie where they take a bunch of tropey movies and throw them into one.
That sounds like it, yeah.
The Hangover, Real Housewives, fucking that movie Ted, because this is from 2014.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrible.
They named the characters after the actors' names from The Hangover.
I thought so.
Is so irritating.
Because it's like Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms and,
Yeah, Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, and it's just shit. This is the fucking... Oh, God,
I knew this was going to hurt you.
Jack Sparrow... Why?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I hate... I'll hate this. No worries.
Thank God. Good.
Jesus Christ.
All right, making up for this week. All right.
God damn it.
Oh, golly gee. Well, do all the good podcast stuff. Rate, subscribe, slap your grandmother around, email. You know the drill. You know what to do.
Yep.
You're a good boy.
Yep.
We love you. All right. And come back next week. We're doing Breach and then Hungover Games. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. And we're putting the finishing touches on some stuff in the background that hopefully by the next time we record next we can officially put out there, and some other things we got going on. And Well, I know we've got another. Hopefully, you enjoyed our Wilhelm Scream Cinema School episode, and Isaac, I know you got another one in cooking because you're a smart man who does research. Oh, the Steadicam. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of background to it, and a lot of movies where it really changed things.
I listened to Harmontown many times over the years. I kind of can't listen to it anymore because I kind of hate Dan Harmon now, unfortunately. But they talk a lot about like something I want to talk about on Cinema School because I actually need to learn something about when they talk about single cam and multicam shows. I've even looked it up, and I still don't have a great explanation. Like, I don't know anything about it, and that's something I'm definitely interested in. So
yeah, I know a little about it, but I haven't researched that one. But that's a good topic.
Yeah, and also, like, I think this week I have had ideas for 3 other types of content we could produce, even though we fucking never have time to do anything. And I'm like, we could do this, we could do that, we can do YouTube videos. Like, fucking shut up here, you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah,
we'll put it in the spank bank, and maybe we'll jerk it out sometime.
The spank bank, along with you and I, the sexual dreams of 80s dancing and stripping we're gonna have.
Darn tootin'.
God, I love and hate this show. It's the best and worst thing that I do.
You do worse things. You just close the curtains first.
I do frequently debate. It's funny because now I live in a place that has skylights, and I'm always looking up at those like, boy, wouldn't it be weird if someone just is on the roof and happen to look down and just see my awful existence?
Well, now I know what I'm doing this weekend.
Local man dies falling from ladder. He was only 4 rungs up, too. It's amazing how he killed him. All right, fucking let's
He
end
had
this.
2 gunshot wounds to the head.
Damnedest accident I ever saw.
Oh, God. We love you.
Smell you later.